Dad, Dad, wake up! You're having a bad dream again. And a young purple-skinned tiefling child stands beside your bed. His hand is on your shoulder in concern, and at his words, you sit up in your small bed, and you find that the bed is drenched in sweat. You've been having these nightmares over and over, but the night around you is still steady and calm, and it's just starting to peak into being morning once again. You, of course, living in the cold mountains east of Aldervin, in a very small, kind of a hutch. I would say poverty is definitely where you're from. So kind of like a hut, clay sticks, things like that. Very primitive, not because of where the world is, just because of where you are. But crickets can be heard chirping, and your wandering eyes begin to relax as the moments pass, and you look into the small fireplace. You're freezing. The cracks and the crevices between the roof tiles and the walls are just enough to keep most of the cold out and some of the heat in. But the boy looks to you and he says, "Was it that nightmare again, Dad? The one about Mom?"
No, this one was a little different, but I appreciate your concern, son. Thanks for waking me. It wasn't a fun dream. You must be freezing. Let me try to get the fire started again.
That sounds good. And so you get up and you take a small stack of logs and place them on the fire and stoke it just a small bit. The boy's mother had passed when the trees began to turn copper and the winds began to cool. Fall was a beautiful season until recently. Now this is the first winter without her, and it seemed especially cold. But it seemed your nightmares had become the new roosters that would awake you in the morning. The bronze glow of sunlight was lighting the mountains, and you could feel the whisper of warmth making itself to your cot just near the village, meaning it was time to get up and get going for your day. From where you are, your son has by now gone back into the living room area. There's a curtains dividing the rooms, and you kind of hunch over a little bit to get through all of them. But he goes into the living room and he's kind of doing his own thing.
Well, let's see. I start by going ahead and putting on my day clothes,
Mhm.
kind of, or maybe a quick sponge bath in a basin to get rid of some of the sweat that I obviously sweat all over my bed.
Right. Hate it when that
Yeah.
happens. Hate it.
So just kind of take a few minutes, kind of wipe myself off, clean up, put my day clothes on. And I look around and I look at the green trunk as I close mine. I lay a hand on it. And then I get up for my day.
When you proceed through to the next space, it's your living area would be a bit on the generous side, but we'll just go ahead and call it your living area. It's kind of combined to kitchen/dining room. It's one room. You're, like I said, you're very poor. And it's a hut.
Yeah, it's nothing special.
Right. And in a couple, and like one more curtain to the side, there's your son's room. You haven't gone in there yet. When you look over at your boy, he's sacking some more small sticks onto the fire from where he is, and he gets down on his hands and knees to kind of stoke it and blow into it. And as he's doing this, the orange glow casts his you can see the contour of his face, and his face is already thinner. He was never a stocky boy. Now you can actually see how deep his cheeks and temples have sunken. And needless to say, you'll need to get food. So you decide to go to the kitchen, if I may, a little bit. You decide to go to the kitchen and maybe craft an impromptu breakfast of sorts. Anything you can find. And, maybe you'll have enough for the two of you. Who knows?
So I'm thinking that I take some of the flour a little bit of the sugar and the peaches, and I try to make an improvised peach tart for
Cool.
me and my son.
So yeah, you make some small tarts and you put them in like the kind of a Dutch oven type situation and cook them up. And before long, you and your son are sitting down next to that front fireplace, crisscross applesauce on the floor, and you're eating together. Dad, I just want to let you know, I know you're doing your best, and thank you. You know, and I've been thinking, I'm getting older. I'm starting to grow out of my toys phase, so I don't know. I thought maybe if you go to town today, you could take those old toy soldiers that I have. Maybe someone will want to buy them for their kid. You know, like a little kid, of course.
Alium, I love you, and I very much appreciate that you are willing to give up your things, but I want you to keep them and enjoy these parts of your life while you can. We'll find a way.
Okay. He finishes up his things and goes ahead and he, gets on his day clothes and grabs a little fishing pole that he has from his room and he just goes, I'm gonna go and do some fishing, see if I can catch today. It wasn't much yesterday, but maybe today's gonna be better. Who knows?
Well, one of these days you're going to catch a big one and we'll feast when you do.
Yeah. And so he gives you a hug and heads out. And, y- even at 9 years old, you guys know this mountain range like the back of your hand. And you know where his fishing spots are. You're not worried about it. It's all good. But this conversation with your boy reminds you again today that you don't have a job currently. Uh, whether that is because you lost the last one, maybe your wife was the sole provider, maybe it's because you're a tiefling and some places just don't hire tieflings. Whatever the reason being, getting income has been horrible for you. Absolutely horrible. And things are getting hard. um, so the most logical thing at this point is to get your things together and go to town. The other option being there is a path further into the mountain where there's some woods and a small lake and things like that. And who knows what you might be able to find or scavenge around there.
Right now, Flint is trying to figure out what would be the most efficient way to get food for his son's belly, and he's trying to decide whether that's work or try to hunt. I go to my room and I clip my sword to my belt.
Mhm.
I decide that I'm going to attempt to hunt. That way I can take the meat and then potentially sell the skin in town for a little bit of extra gold.
Yeah. So if you are all ready, was there anything else you wanted to do before leaving? Any more exploring for the rooms or anything?
Well, it's a simple house. I think there's not
Right.
much to it, to be honest. So,
Fair.
um, unless I wanted to look at his sleeping space, but it's just, what few toys he has in his bed would be most
Right.
of what I would imagine. So,
So Flint, you get your things together. You get your small hiking bag, your little worn boots, and your fishing rod, and you begin to trek out that way. So the place you're going is known as Lake Chinook. It's a fishing lake usually, but it has a thick forest just southwest of the fort, or excuse me, the port, which is actually a fort as well. It's called Fort Truxton. So you go uphill and you are hiking for about 30 minutes or so. It's a decent little hike until the dirt path cuts off and your knowing feet follow themselves to a nearly hidden break in the frosted grass. Continuing this way, you come to a steady uphill climb, and once reaching its peak, you see the lake straight ahead, nearly hidden away from all the world, and just down the Sunfire Valley. Sunfire Valley is not its actual name, but that is actually what your wife used to call it, because when the sun would hit the lake just the right way, everything in that valley just lit on fire. And so it was a rather beautiful thing. And ever since then, you and your whole family would just call it Sunfire Valley.
so I'm going to start by just heading to the southern end of the lake.
So you get down to the very coarse sand, and the water laps up on the shore very softly. And the surrounding area in the distance, pretty far away, and it's kind of cast in a hazy mist, but there are huge oak trees that kind of surround the entire lake. From where you're standing to your right, you have some of that continuation of thick forest. Up to your left, so I guess I don't know what direction that would be, like direct north, I guess. There's kind of a mound shape. You're not sure if it's branches or a fallen tree or something, but it's kind of a mound shape that's like half in, half out of the water as well.
For the moment, I think I'll explore around, maybe check out that mound, see if there's anything interesting.
You trek forward. You examine this big mountain. It's very large. It's big enough to climb on and walk on. And as you're getting closer, you identify it as a beaver's dam, like a abandoned beaver's dam. It looks like.
I examined the beaver dam, seeing that the beavers aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Little disappointed because the beavers could have at least made good skins. So I'll look around. I don't necessarily see any major movement, do I?
Not at the moment. There's a few birds flying up out of the woods closer to where you came from, but that's about it.
Okay.
It's a pretty still night on the lake.
Do I see any deer tracks that come or anything to the lakeside?
Yeah, you're looking, and you do see a couple of faint tracks, light tracks of cloven hooves, whether it's a deer or an elk or something like that. They're kind of a awkward medium size, so it could be a really big deer or a really small elk. But yeah, you do see something, which is good. Do you wish to follow the tracks and see what you can find?
Yeah, I think I'll do that. See if there's the possibility of finding something worth taking home.
You follow them back into the oak area, the thicker part of the woods, and like I said, there's some shrubbery all around you. It gets pretty thick there for a while, but you're able to maintain some faint tracks as they go on. As you're looking, you're using your sword to hack through the bushes and to get a clearer path. And you find yourself on the other side of the bushes where you unfortunately have lost the tracks. Whether they split off somewhere within the shrubbery, you're not sure. You did find yourself actually facing a campfire, though. There are about 2 or 3 like TP style tents over there, though. And there's a few bags with gear in them, and something seems to be turning on or would be turning on a little spit that's on above the fireplace. It looks like it might be a rabbit or something sitting there. It's just kind of resting. But it's all quiet. You don't see anyone right away. The tent's flaps are all closed.
In the grand scheme of things, this is close to home, so I'm curious to see who's come out this far.
As you're approaching closer, you smell the crispy skin of the rabbit that is on that fire, and it just makes your mouth water. As much as a peach tart is delicious in and of itself, your tummy starts to grumble viciously in response to the smell.
I try not to think about the smell of it as best I can. Is anyone here?
Who's out there? And the flap flings open, and inside there's it looks to be a orc or a half orc man who's in kind of a naval attire of sorts.
Well, who've we got here? Not snooping around and taking our food, are you?
No, I was just curious. Me and my family frequent these woods, and I've never seen hardly anybody come out here. My name is Flint. Who might you be, sir?
Ooh, well, my name's Smug. It's a pleasure to meet you. I've never seen one in that color before.
In response to his voice, one of the other tents open. And there's another orc in there who's also waking up, same type of uniform. And
Hi. Oh, yeah, that's a new one. Hey, you're purple, ain't you? Never seen a purple one. Grog, what about you?
and a third one pops out of the third tent.
Purple. Well, I'd hate to be rude, but we're just some simple travelers came to the port. You see, we're warriors from our homeland, and we thought what better vacation to get away from the stresses of combat and go see this beautiful mountainside, collect some souvenirs, and take them home. You have some lovely forests, you know.
That's why me and my family called it home. It's a beautiful landscape. I could point some nice paths up the mountain if that's where you're interested in going, or there's the village down the road there if you're interested in that.
Yeah, we'll be going to the village soon enough. Our ship leaves tomorrow morning. But here's the curious thing about it is you assume we'd want to go. No, we like it here. It's very comfortable, very peaceful. And so many yummy bunnies out here. You ought to try one. Do you like yummy bunnies?
Oh, certainly. They're great if you can actually catch one.
Yeah, well, you see, we ain't got no rabbits where we're from. Did you know that? I'll bet you didn't.
I did not.
Oh, yeah. It's a rare delicacy. But you know, we're from Taunton. It's a bit more, how would you say, rough and tough, Smug? Yeah, rough and tough. Yeah. And you want to know something real funny about where we're from, sir?
What's that?
Well, it just so happens that, well, tiefling folk like you're usually the kind that we eat. Ain't that something? It's an amazing thing, Taunton. Hot, dry country. Lots of deserts. And when you find food of any kind, sometimes you just gotta take a bite. Do you taste good, Flint?
I think I'd be a little too stringy, maybe a little too wiry for your taste.
Stringy. Yeah. Oh, don't you worry. We're not gonna hit ya. We're not from this land. We have to behave ourselves. We leave tomorrow, and hey, we ain't got no business causing trouble with these nice mountain folk now, do we, boys? No, I guess not. You're a scrawny little thing, ain't you?
I mean, compared to a specimen like you, of course.
Yeah, well, I'll do my best to keep the belly full. Looks like you could use some help doing the same, couldn't you?
If you're offering work, I am happy to work for food or coin.
Well, I think we can work something out. You know, I recall that when I took off to sea, my old lady, Grimgrew, the thighs on her, but that's neither here nor there. As she said, when you go out overseas, I want me a souvenir. And wouldn't you know, the one thing she wanted, a brand new set of tiefling horns to hang over the fireplace. You got a pretty set of horns on you. I reckon I could pay you well for a small token.
How much?
Oh, well. Well, I got about 30 gold in that bag. That ought to cover one horn. I can do double for two. Won't hurt a bit, I promise.
Do me a favor. Leave me enough so that I have some for sentimental value.
Mm, well, well, you see, I can do my best, but accidents happen. You understand?
What if I go take them off and bring them back to you?
Hmm. Can tieflings do that? Can tieflings do that? I didn't. I don't quite know. I never really thought about it. Is it like deers when they like shed their antlers at the end of the season? Season. Well, I reckon that'd be a fair deal. You go ahead and take them horns off and make your way back here before tomorrow. I'll be happy to take them off your hands and very well.
Fair enough. I stick out my hand to shake his hand.
It's a pleasure. My old lady's gonna love the souvenir. Well, we're gonna get on with our day, but you have a lovely afternoon, sir.
Thank you. I will see you in a matter of hours.
I reckon you will.
And so he turns back, and the three of them kind of get to it, and they start digging into that rabbit and cutting it apart and eating.
I think I'll take my leave of these gentlemen and make my way back toward the lake, possibly to try to track down my son, because now I have a task that
Right.
would be easier with an extra set of hands.
So yeah, you go back to the lake. You make your way there, and you take a look around, kind of keeping an eye out for your son. And you don't see him anywhere at this moment. You know that, I mean, you haven't been there super long. He got a little bit of a head start on you in terms of him leaving. He tends to wander a little bit. You've gotten to know in his age, he likes to wander around and everything. And so it's not a total surprise. You're not panicking or anything like that, but you don't see him around at the moment.
Well, he can't have gone far. If he's coming home this early, maybe he got something. Let's go back to the house and check on him.
You turn and start hiking back to the house, where you finally reach your front door curtain, and you go inside, and to your surprise, there is nobody there. There's no one there. However, on the floor near the fireplace, not too close to it, but there's a small handwritten note that seems to be in your son's handwriting, and it reads, "Dad, you'll never guess what. I caught one. It's not huge, but I figure that maybe the butcher in town would pay us some gold for it. I know that we need food to eat, but this could also cover a few other things if he decides to buy it. So I headed that way, and I hope I didn't stress you out if I wasn't at the lake. But if you don't see me at the butcher shop, then just know that I might be hanging out with Hank. He is working, and he said he might have a job for me as well. So if he does, that's where I'll be. But I'll be home tonight either way, so don't stress. Love you, Dad."
Well, I'll follow to town. Maybe I run across him, or maybe I find someone who's able to assist me with my task.
As you are walking to the town, it's a bit of a longer walk. Maybe I'd say maybe it's a full hour walk or so. You're walking that way, and as you're making your way through the street, now it's more of a cobblestone street, and you can hear and see the town further off in the distance, but it's getting closer steadily. As you're doing this, you round a small turn or a twist in the road, and you hear a voice nearby, steadily getting louder as you're approaching. "Alms, spare a coin, a crumb. Alms for a poor blind man." And as you work your way there, leaning against a tree stump, in a very tattered old cloak, is a bearded man with very gray eyes. And he holds out a hat, just to no one. He holds out a hat and he just repeats. He just keeps saying, "Please, a coin or crumb for a blind beggar. Anyone."
Hey, old man. And I slide him a copper piece. Unfortunately, I don't have much. I am struggling myself, but I hope this helps you at least a little.
You plop the coin into his hat, and it's the only coin there. You know, um, his hat is bare and empty, but the coin falls in, and the blind man he smiles wide. He smiles super wide, and his teeth are blackened and decayed. His gray eyes that you notice are just they're clouded with years of blindness and no care, given to them. And the worst thing about them is that they're looking directly at you, directly in your eyes. And he goes, "Blessings to you, good man. I've always wanted to try this." And he says this, and he pulls out a paper and a quill from behind him, and he just scribbles down like a note or something real quick. And he's giddy and he's smiling. He tucks it away, and he bows his head towards you and makes a little motion like that, like gesturing thanks towards you. And he goes, "I will remember this good deed, young man. Thank you." And he takes his cloak and he throws it over his head, just awkwardly. And now he's just this cloaked pile on the floor, and he's dead still and dead quiet. Like he just, yeah.
So I stand, well, enjoy the rest of your day. And I continue into town.
There, yeah, no movement, no sound, nothing. He's vanished, So yeah, there you go. Let us continue into the town. And if you got just a second, I gotta go potty, and we take a little potty break, and then we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Okay. Ooh, oogity boogity. Okay. Cool beans. So. Okay. So, Flint, you have made your way, after that strange encounter, you have made your way down the trail, and you have come to Fort Troxton. It is as I had said before, it's at a great port where traders will come from all around, and it's a high traffic area where just constant coming and going. It's kind of the place to be if you're going to try to make a quick buck, or if you are in the Navy, or pretty much anything to do with boats or money. Like there's just something to do there. But yes, a hike between tall snow-capped rocks and great oaks leads you to a gravel path, which then turns to the cobbled roadway to Fort Troxton. And for a little bit of backstory, once it was a great fort in the Tigrinian War, it later became a settlement for traders and travelers whom would come to Alderven with goods and services from all around Livendrell. There was always going to be something there to eat, something there to buy or sell, so good place to be. But once you enter into the streets of Troxton, your cold nose is embraced by the warm aroma of fresh bread and rosemary, and your stomach continues to rumble. You'll definitely be able to find something to eat around here. For what price, who knows? But you should be able to find something here for them. And this is going to go kind of the same fashion. Once again, it's kind of an experimental thing, but we're going to kind of go the same fashion as the exploration in the forest with the whole compass idea. So starting at north, you have a trader's post. Going to northeast, you have looks like a shoe and boot repair place. Like a cobbler, I guess. Is that the right word? No, it's not a cobbler.
Yeah,
Is that a cobbler? Okay.
Cobbler is for shoes.
Okay, that's what I couldn't remember. It's not. I don't get around cobblers that much.
Unless it's like the peach or
right.
apple variety.
I was gonna say I know those cobblers real well. To the east, you have the Drowsy Codfish Tavern. Let me see. That was to the east. Southeast, you have Milka's Gifts. It's a magic and sorcery supply. And obviously, this is just a general statement. Obviously, if you're like, hey, what was in this direction again? Just ask me. To the south, you have the Troxton Fish Market. Southwest, you have Saul's Imagination House. It's like a toy and game store. To the west, you have Driskin McCall's Winery. And northwest, you have Gristle's Butchery and Livestock. So those are kind of the immediate locations you have. In the middle, where you are currently, just the center of the town, there's just multiple people kind of whipping past you. Some are in buggies, some of them are just walking and hauling things with them. Most of them kind of seem intentionally looking away from you, as there's not a lot of tieflings in this town. So
yeah, I imagine I'm known as that purple tiefling that lives just outside of town.
Right.
I know I'm kind of the social pariah. Like
the social piranha. But yeah, exactly. So they're not, they're not bugging you, but they're actively just kind of they're keeping an extra foot or two away from you at all times. But yeah, were any of those places interesting to you off the top of your head?
So I'm gonna go to the butcher. I might run into my son, and if I don't, I can still have a word with the butcher.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, you go into the butcher, and there are, for context, this butchery is owned by the Gristle brothers, and only one of them actually works there. The other one owns the livestock aspect and raises them just outside of town, sheep and goats and things like that. But let's just see. John Gristle is the man working there. He is in there currently chopping up some mutton, it looks like. He goes, "Hey, well, what can I help you with, sir?"
Well, first, I thought I'd ask, have you seen my son? Obviously, if he came out here, you would know him.
Oh, yeah. Little bugger came in and offered me poor little fish. Barely had any meat on him, but he was excited nonetheless. I gave him a good piece and sent him on his way.
That was very kind of you, sir.
Well, got a soft spot for children, but you, on the other hand, are you here to buy something or what?
I would actually like to request an odd service of you.
What would that be?
So, I know you work in things with bone as well as meat.
I do.
I need my horns removed. I'm willing to pay you a silver for this odd request.
Is this a tiefling thing? Do you grow them back or?
Not really. I would like enough that I could left on my head that I could sharpen to small points. I know some tieflings have shorter horns, so I would like to still be able to do that with what's left. But let's just say I'm doing what I need to do for my son.
Curious. I'm not gonna lie, it's sort of an uncomfortable question you've brought to me. I'm not opposed to it, however.
I know you could do it more precisely than I could by myself. and with much greater skill. The only other person I could really ask would be my son, and it might be kind of emotional for him if I ask him.
I see. I would like to help. I'm afraid I don't think it would be do a persuasion check on him.
Eight.
8. I'm going to level with you, sir. Tieflings are not desired around these parts.
I'm well
And
aware.
yes, and even now, I am afraid that your presence probably affects people walking in here. The last thing that I need is tiefling blood somewhere on my floors or on my cabinet. It is time for bed, I agree. But I heard a voice. Was that on your end?
It's
Oh.
It's an Alexa telling my son it's time
Okay.
for bed.
That's what I thought. I was just okay. I'll go with it. But because I do wish I could help you, sir, but I'm afraid I'm afraid that if someone saw me using my tools for such a manner as this, they'd want me to get new tools, afraid of tiefling diseases, and that sort of thing. I'm not saying I believe in that, but alas, if they're paying the bills, then I need to cater towards them. You understand?
I understand your position. Maybe I can try somewhere else. Thank you for your time.
Sir, before you go, yeah, he grabs just like a couple of small kind of reject cuts of venison, it looks like, but I mean they're about yay thick. I mean they're not huge by any means, but he wraps them in a paper and looks around and quickly just kind of hands it to you.
I take them and I slide them into my pack, and thank you.
Like I said, we don't like to leave things around here, but I have a soft spot for children.
And these will go to him. I promise you. Thank you.
Of course. I'll be going with you. Best of luck to you, though.
I turn and I leave, appreciative for what little kindness he was willing to give me.
Right. So you head out, and once again, you're in the kind of the center square. And unfortunately, as you're walking out, there were a few people that were passing by. Did you see it? There's a tiefling coming out of the butcher shop. No, I saw that. She don't get any business from me anymore. That's for and, like just hateful talk. Just hateful talk. Not to you, but you hear them. But yeah, you're back in the town center at this moment. And what else are you thinking? Do you need did anything else catch your attention that I named earlier or anything?
I'm gonna see if maybe the cobbler can help me with my issue. He'll have a saw or something.
Right. All right. Let's just see what we have.
If not, I could maybe try a a carpenter or something if there's anything like that in town.
Right. Well, okay. Let's go to it is Bill and Burr's Shoe and Boot. You go in, and Bill and Burr are two halfling twins. They look exactly the same, and it doesn't help that they wear the exact same clothing. They are kind of you imagine to be the stereotype of the shoemaker's elves type creature, because they are working on a pair of giant boots, and compared to their very small bodies, it looks the part. However, nobody in their right mind would actually speak anything of such a stereotypical cliche tale to their faces about that. And so they're knocking on the shoe and fixing it up. And
oh my, tiefling. Huh. Where do tieflings wear shoes? I say they probably do. What can we help you with, sir?
Gentlemen, I actually require your assistance if it is at all possible. I know that you predominantly work in obviously making wonderful shoes. It's been quite a time since I've been able to acquire a pair. Mine ragged, possibly a hole, going to be working its way through one of them very soon.
Mm-hmm.
But can I make a different transaction with you? If what pans out for me, maybe I'll be able to afford a new pair of shoes after the fact. I require my horns removed. I know this is an odd question to ask. But needless to say, I am doing what I need to for my family, and this would be a great boon, and I would, I can promise you that I would come here and purchase myself and my son a new pair of shoes the moment I am done with my other transaction.
It's definitely a curious request. Well, Bill, well, come here. Well, we've discussed the matter, and well, I say we'll give it a go, but be discreet about it, and we'll see what we can do. Back this way, please.
And so you go back to one of the rooms that they have, and you see essentially assorted, tools for shoe crafting, and one of which you see is kind of a long metal wire that has a sharpened edge to it, and it's kind of serrated, sort of a I guess like a bandsaw type thing, but it's on the smaller side to accommodate them, of course. And so one of the two of them, like I said, you can't really decipher which one is which until they identify each other, but one of them says,
"Oh wait, sir, well, if you'll just take a seat here," and
he pulls a chair up for you to sit in right in front of a table, and he says,
"Now, here," and
he lays down a towel like for your head, and
he says, "If you'll just place your head right here, and we'll make quick work of those horns, it shouldn't be a problem."
And then
probably
may I request that you leave enough that I could maybe sharpen them to short points. I know some tieflings have shorter horns, and I could at least get away with looking like I still have my horns, if that is possible.
We can very well see what we can do. However, just don't go gallivanting around and saying this is the sort of thing we do for tieflings.
No, certainly
wouldn't look
not.
good.
Discretion, mum is the word.
You understand greatly, thank you. Well, yes, we'll see what we can do. Please, your head, lay it down.
I lay down for them.
Awesome. So, of course, you can't see them at this moment. You're facing face down at the edge of the table, so you actually see the floor, but your kind of forehead and horns are on the table itself, and you feel the pressure of a couple hands, gripping them firmly, but not harshly. And you hear one of them say,
"All right, Bill, start cranking the saw carefully now."
And from like the corner of your eye, you can kind of see what he's doing, and he's sitting on like a little mini bicycle, like pedaling to get the things. And so you hear the whizzing of the saw. And so the one comes down to you and goes,
All right, sir, just stay calm and we'll have these horns off of you in no time with just enough to spare. Consider it a fashion change of sorts.
and so he lowers it, and little bit at a time, you start feeling the of
Like in the dentist chair, just trying
yeah, exactly. You start feeling it doesn't hurt, but it's a unnatural feeling, kind of shoots down your spine a little bit, a grinding sensation from somewhere above your head, and uh, the one is that's controlling the saw.
Bill, a little more speed, please. The saw is having trouble.
You hear a crash noise and like a twang, and there's a smell of like smoke in the air from all the friction. And as you raise your head up, the one goes,
Oh, my eye. Oh, heavens. Well, sir, you see, we were able to get off this fragment, and
he takes a good portion of it because
we have this. We weren't able to get through both of them, unfortunately. I am so sorry. We will need to repair our bandsaw before we can try again. Oh, there's a little blood. I apologize. Are you in pain of any kind?
No, tieflings naturally can resist heat, so I'm perfectly fine.
Oh, good, good. Oh, heavens. I am quite sorry we could not complete this. You poor man. What has driven you to such a point, may I ask?
Me and my son, as you know, we are outcast here, and it is not easy for me to find work. And as much as I hate to say it, I'm a little desperate. And there are some gentlemen that have offered me a sizable amount of gold for my horns. And I would not have to see my son starve through this winter if there's anything I can do for him.
Blessings to you, sir. I am quite sorry to hear such a tale. Alas, I don't know what kind of gentleman you interact with that would ask such a humiliating thing as this. I am afraid there's no more we can do for you. I wish the best for you and your son. I truly do. And bother all the cliches of tiefling cliches and the way you're treated. Should you ever need a pair of dapper shoes or maybe some hunting hiking boots for getting up and down from that mountain range, you come right here. We'll be happy to take care of you. Don't bother with the rest of them. Of course. Well, I suppose we'll be back to it, but in the meantime, is there anything else we can do for you?
No, but I will keep your kindness in mind. I will not forget it. Thank you.
Of course. Pleasant day, sir.
You as well.
And once again, you turn to leave the cobbler store, and Flint is clearly feeling very defeated at this time. You get a tickling sensation from a small dribble of blood from your horn stump now on the left side of your face, and you feel it is about a quarter of the length that it once was, while the other one simply has a kind of an indentation on the back side of it from where the saw started to go through and then didn't work. But the town around you continues as if their days are going fine. Nothing's happening in their lives. And obviously, it's not a very good one for Flint. So, where else would Flint like to go? Or what would he like to do? Or, if nothing else, what's going on in his mind right now?
Well, right now he's feeling a little humiliated, especially being, it's somewhere between having a really bad haircut and humiliation of, essentially losing a large part of himself.
Right. Understandable. The way I think with any kind of like horned race, and maybe this is just like what I would assume, but I feel like, yeah, it's definitely a pride thing. Like, I feel like horns are like, that's your, that is a natural decoration. It's like a natural crown of sorts, So this is a huge deal that he's been, first of all, put in this position and then left in this state, even after all of it,
Yeah, he is not happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but as a desperate father, he's willing to do what he has to try to provide for his son. So
right.
He's doing his best.
Right.
So,
understandable. And by this time, it is getting on. A bit more time has passed. It took you, about an hour just to get to the town, and spend a little bit of time in it. So we're getting through the day a little bit. You can see the sun is now going down more than it's been, midday or anything. So getting closer to wrapping up the day. So yeah, while you're here, are there any other shops that caught your interest or that maybe give you a glimmer of hope or potential thought that you can think of?
Is there a general goods store?
In this area, there is pretty much like just like the fish market is like, obviously they sell fish and everything like that, but that's kind of where the general supplies and things are. Like, you'll find more than just fish there, but that's their main attraction.
Okay.
It's going to be the closest thing that you can make it to today.
So I'll go there.
Mm-hmm. All right. And you make your way down several streets that have staircases and things like that all the way to very close to the port now. And in the distance, you see the ocean, the vast ocean, and many, many ships all docked at this port. And now in front of you is a long walkway with various shops on either side, and the smell of fish and shrimp and other crustaceans kind of waft up at you, some much better than others. But even with their current state, it doesn't smell all that bad. And everything. So what are you looking for in particular while you're here?
A saw.
A saw?
Just a simple hand saw.
Right. Well, give me a perception check real quick.
$17.
17. All right, awesome.
Hey, buddy. You going to bed? Yeah. Okay. Good night. Good night, kiddo.
Yep. See you in the morning.
Yep, I'll see you in the morning. Love you, buddy.
Such a charming young man. So while you don't see any particular stations that like sell these types of tools for construction or carpentry and things like that, you do notice that there's a man just up the way over on the left side. And oops, what did I just do to my computer? There we go. Come back. It made you a tiny screen. I don't want you to be tiny screen. I want you to be big screen. There we go. Okay. But yeah, you notice that there's a man that has these enormous fish laid out on some very nice trays and everything. And currently hanging up on a post, he has a huge like tuna fish. And he's taken some large chunks of that. And it's more so the sound that catches your attention, as you can hear the sound of him sawing through the bone of the fish with a ordinary saw of sorts. And that's kind of the first thing that you notice. How does that sound to you?
It'll do.
Right. Okay, so I mean, you approach him and everything, and he's sawing away. He goes, "Can I help you?"
I hope so. As you can see, I am a little unevenly cut here. I would like to either request your services or maybe to purchase your saw from you, if that is at all possible.
Purchase my saw. Heh. You're a weird one, that is. That horn job seems to have done you nothing short of a visual description of your request, but, well, what have you have to offer for my saw?
I have a silver and a copper.
Oh, you're serious? Well, you see, this is kind of an important tool for my day-to-day job. I'm cutting up the fish, and I have to make money somehow. So,
Certainly.
What happened to that horn of yours anyway?
For reasons that I do not much care for my circumstance, I am having to have it removed so that I can care for my child.
That's unfortunate. I say, I never found myself wanting children. They're expensive. Worth an arm and a leg, or in your case, a horn. What happened to the horn? Do you still have it on you?
I do.
Oh. Well, that'd be... Tell you what, I'd be happy to trade my saw for your other horn, actually. Be a mighty nice souvenir.
Unfortunately, it is promised to someone else. I'm actually going to give both of them to them. Could I pay you a silver to remove the horn?
You see, I really would. Don't get me wrong, but there's really no privacy here, and I have to continue using the saw to work on the fish. And I reckon if people saw me using the saw for such a matter as that, and then returning to my product, well, what kind of reputation would I have then?
What about after dark? I will clean it for you.
Persuasion check.
$20.
That's funny. Okay. Well, between you and me, I suppose that if you're willing to thoroughly clean the instrument after dark, I'd be happy to help you out. It will have to be rather late, as I'm going to be not just selling and butchering, but I'll be cleaning up and returning all my tools to my ship. But if you can make it back after dark, then, well, I reckon I'll be happy to help you.
Thank you.
Of course.
I will see you tonight.
I reckon so. Best of luck to you. And he goes back to chopping his fish and everything. Oh, Flint, having a bad day. Depressing session, huh?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah, this man is not doing well.
Right. Right.
Virtually humiliating himself in front of people to
Right.
try.
Anything you gotta do for family, you know.
Yep.
But so yeah, unless there's any shopping you want to do at the fish market, which I don't reckon you probably can. We're back to the town center. We've already gone to we've been to Bill and Burr's. We've been to the butcher shop, and now we've been to the fish market. There's a few places left that are still open at this time of day. You have the winery, you have the Imagination House, you have the Magic and Sorcery Supply, and the tavern. Needless to say, the tavern's going to be open latest out of all these places, but, you know.
I think I will start with the Imagination Palace.
Gotcha. All right. Well, this is Saul's Imagination House. It's a toy and game store. And as you go in, you are met with a very high-ceilinged, narrow building and bright colors all around. Now, Saul Bellbottom is a whimsical old fellow. His toys are renowned from the mountains to the kingdoms of the West, and pretty much anything a child would want, he has it. He's not. He's been known to dabble in some small magic, mostly in the name of craftsmanship. But everything else he makes by hand or by invention. And you walk in, he goes, a guest. Welcome in, my friend. How can I help you?
Hi, I am hoping to buy maybe a symbol, something for my son. All I can offer you, unfortunately, all I can offer you at the moment is a copper. It's all I'm able to spare. I know you know, with such wondrous pieces, you probably don't have much for that low, but
yes. Well, give me just a moment. Let's see what we can do for you. Oh, my good sir, you look exhausted. Please, have a seat over here.
And he pulls out there's a small fireplace in there, and there's a red, like, leather chair there with a small side table next to it. And you're the only one in the shop besides him. There's shelves lined with toys and everything. He goes,
please, have a seat, sir. I'll see what I can find for you.
thank you.
Of course. Your son,
and he's like going through things while he's looking.
Your son, how old is this boy?
He's 9, sir.
Oh, such a charming age indeed. Does he have any particular interests or hobbies that might lead you to finding that perfect toy, that perfect tool of imagination?
Well, he does enjoy fishing. Before his mother passed, I know he used to enjoy playing with his soldier toys and imitating that he was a soldier or a guardsman with his stick of a sword, and
I see.
just
Well, give me just one moment. I'll be right with you. Okay. Let's just do it like that.
yeah, we're doing some real acting now.
Okay. Let me see if this might be a good fit for him. I don't know if you know much about my work, about what I do, but I dabbled in the ways of magic from time to time, mostly in the name of building imagination, building fun for people of all ages, not just children. Adults are in need of imagination and fun just as much, don't you find?
Well, I mean, magic, it's such a wondrous thing. I've heard of much and I've heard tell of your abilities, but I've never deemed to look into it much myself.
Well, from what I hear of you boys, a charming young man, let me see if this would
I'm-
possibly tickle his fancy.
And he holds up in front of you a sword.
Oh, that is a beautiful piece.
I see now. I see a twinkle of hesitation in your eye. Do you deny this?
I don't know how I could afford such a thing.
Well, first things first, let me tell you, this is not a real sword. It is, in fact, made of wood. You heard the ring when I unsheathed it, though. That is where the magic comes in. Just a small little push, a small little sprinkle of magic to fuel the imagination. Something ordinary that can change a boy's experience, wandering through the woods, drawing a wooden blade, but hearing that slight ring of metal changes everything he looks at after it, don't you find? Ah, yes. It's a proud object. Would you like to know how much it costs?
How much?
It's free.
No. No, I really couldn't.
Oh, but you can and you will. Listen here. There are times when I bargain with kings and dukes, people of high stature, and I demand my well price for them. I have to make a living, as you know, and there are times when kindness goes a long way. Times when you give something not because of what you can expect in return, but because you simply know that it's the right thing to do. I believe this is one of those times. Here.
I accept it.
Now, your little boy will no longer walk into the woods wielding these ordinary riffle-raffle sticks and stones, pretending they are arrows and blades. No, he will walk in. He will draw his sword from its sheath and hold it to the sun and watch it glimmer. And he'll know he's a true warrior in his heart. And all it cost was kindness.
I am in your debt.
No, no debt necessary. You give that blade to that boy, and we will see his smile reach across the heavens, and then that is the payment I will need. Understood?
I will return to tell you tale of the enjoyment he will take from this.
Very good, sir. Well, alas, none of my magic can return your horn to you, but in the meantime, I bid you a lovely day, lovely night, and lovely many days afterwards.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. You doing okay, Steven?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm just very in character right now.
Yes. No, I
Like-
dig it. I dig it. I'm just like, oh, bro, I'm going to start tearing up. Gotta
Yeah,
dab. Gotta
A
dab the
little
lips.
bit of a method actor myself, so
Oh,
very
no, I
in
dig it.
character.
I dig it, man. I dig it. And I'm all for it. I love it. Cool. So with that, you've now acquired this new toy, this new item that looks like a very convincing blade, and you wield it next to you, and you exit the store once again.
I go ahead and belt it opposite my other sword, just
Right.
somewhere to carry it.
Uh, understandable. And so now it is you're starting to notice that the mountain range is going dark as the sun is starting to get a bit more set. and everything. You still have not seen your son in town. However, at this time of night, it is more ordinary for him to go ahead and return home. So, once again, you guys have your cycle. You know, you have your routine. So you figure he by now is definitely home. Um, in the meantime, some of the shops are starting to close and everything. The last two places within, relative visiting distance are really going to be, let me double check. You have Milka's Gifts and, Milka's Gifts, Magic and Sorcery. And then you have the Drowsy Codfish Tavern. Either of those draw your attention.
I'm going to go into the sorcery shop just to waste a little time.
Right.
And then probably end up in the tavern after that, just
I
to
gotcha.
wait out the rest of the sun.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha.
So
I totally get that. Now, as you as you go to the magic shop, the first thing you'll notice is that all the shelves are chock full. They're all full of stuff. In fact, they are a bit too full. It doesn't seem like things are selling very well. And come to think of it, as you're walking through the town, you didn't really notice anybody going in or coming out of the store the whole time you've been in town. Now, this shop belongs to a young lady named Milka. And let me see. Milka Rhymson. She's said to be descended from a long line of mystics and mediums, but she only opened up this shop, maybe 2 summers ago. So it's relatively new to the otherwise long-lived town, very old town, and you think maybe she just hasn't built her clientele up that much. But you walk in and there's a desk up front with a little bell on it. You don't see anybody at this time.
Well, I just sort of start perusing the shelves, seeing if there's anything just interesting laying about, anything to read.
There's there's an assortment of looks like different potions up on one shelf, various colors and textures on the inside. Some are thick and gelatinous, while others look very light and almost intriguing to taste. The one thing is that none of them have any proper labels on them. Some of them have labels that are scratched out, and then another one is put down. It kind of leads you to wonder how efficient this young lady is at labeling her products very well. It's also an assortment of magic wands laying around, many of which seem, how would you put it, secondhand almost. Maybe things that, based on all the dust that's on them, they're just, like I said, they're not selling well. You can't for the life of you think as to why, although you're pretty sure that wand right there is just a stick. So, like there's actually bark on it still. So it's just like, I don't know about that one. But before long, you hear a, oh my God, there's someone here. Hi, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Did you need help finding anything? I dozed off then. I'm so sorry. How rude of me. Yes, what can I help you with today, sir? Wait, no, that's wrong. I've been expecting you.
Hello, Milka, is it?
It is. It is. And your name? Don't tell me. It is Daniel.
No.
Nope. I knew that. No, your name is Jed.
No.
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 Artemis.
No one that I know of.
Okay, so what's your name then?
My name is Flint. I am.
Wouldn't you know that was actually going to be my fourth guess? But how can I?
Certainly, it was definitely gonna be your next
It
guess.
was.
I can just feel it.
Yes, absolutely. Magic is in the air around us. Anyways, Flint, Mr. Flint, how can I help you today, sir?
I just honestly never really gotten to step in here before, and I thought I'd look around for a little bit.
For a spell, perhaps? Well, yes, of course. Have a look around. I'm so sorry things aren't organized better. Uh, I don't sell a lot, actually. Oh yes, but we do services. We do enchantments. I say we, it's just me. But I do enchantments and I do. Oh, I do card readings. I do card readings. Of all sorts. Would you like a card reading? Would you like one?
I I would, but I can't afford much.
How much can you afford?
Copper?
Hmm, how about here? Let me level with you. I need a lot of practice. I need a lot of practice. So, if you wouldn't mind, can I just like pretty much practice on you just for a moment? It's in exchange, it'll be free. It'll just be free. God, I've had no customers all day. If you can just hang out with me for a little bit, I'd appreciate it.
Sure, I have time I need to waste as well.
Oh, good.
And it's nice to have one of the few kind faces in town.
Of course. Well, if there's nothing else I can do, I can be a kind face, I suppose. Give me just a moment. Let me get my cards. I'll be right back. More method acting. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. I've always wanted to do this. Okay. Are you familiar with oracle cards?
Not particularly.
You know tarot cards?
I know of them.
Oh yes. Well, this is not tarot cards. But it's kind of along the same lines. Here. Let's just do this. Would you like to know? Oh, I don't know. Let's look into the future, why don't we? We'll try to, anyways. Let's do a little searching here, a little searching there. Now, tell me just a small bit about yourself, sir. Perhaps your home life, or anything noteworthy, I suppose.
Well, I am a widowed father. I have a 9-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my son are the only tieflings that I know of in the area. We don't have much. My my wife passed this past autumn.
That's normal. Don't mind that, sorry. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that. Here, let me get these in place and let's see what we can do to peer into the future. Let's do that and that. Here. Would you like card 1, 2, or 3? Oh, you can't even see them. Oh, that's so bothersome. There we go. 1, 2, or 3.
I reach out my hand with my eyes closed, and I touch the third one.
I see. Now, the thing about oracle cards is that, unlike tarot cards where they have a more definitive reasoning, oracle cards are more up for interpretation, you see. Usually describing an image, they'll show an image of a particular thing or place, and you can draw on many things based on, well, the color or the subject matter or what's happening with the subjects within the cards. And that's where my skill comes in, as I'm descended from a very long line of mediums and such, so this should come naturally to me. Hmm. Well, you got the... let me see if I can show it to you. The fire dragon. Very peculiar. This is, like I said, it's more for interpretation than anything else, so don't let anything I say scare you. But yes, on this card, I see a great dragon engulfed in flames. And it's a powerful beast. Maybe contributing to some sense of power you have or will have. Who knows? And I see on a stone next to it, looks like a gold amulet of some kind, a treasure, something hidden away behind the rocks that perhaps this dragon is protecting. I don't know. Does this resonate with you at all?
Not too much per se. I mean,
Well,
the only thing I have involving fire recently has just been some bad dreams.
Well, as much as I am in the ways of magic, who am I to also cancel out the possibility of coincidence? Things do happen like that, and heaven knows how cold it's been. I'd be dreaming of fire as well. Even in my dreams, I'm freezing. The true part that does get me in this card happens to be the gold amulet, though. For such a powerful beast, such a small trinket, something small that it's trying to protect, something valuable. So easily lost, but yet it keeps it. And truly, I can't tell from the flames if that is of the dragon's doing, or if that's simply the environment it's been cast in. Its face doesn't seem to portray pleasure or pain. But in either regards, if I have to apply this to you, I would say you're bound for great power, perhaps, and well, what small treasures you can find, keep them close, protect them. That's I guess what anybody would do with treasure, though. I'm so sorry. This is a silly waste of your time. Like I said, I'm not very good at this.
Well, no, I enjoyed it actually.
Oh, good. Well, alas, that's really all I can think of to do. Unless you wanted to buy some wares. This wand is extraordinary. If you happen to be in the market for a wand.
I mean, unless it's a copper, I don't think I can help you much at the moment.
No, I don't think I can help you either with those prices. But respectfully, of course. Well, sir, yes, I do wish I could do more, and alas, I wish I had the ability to help with your horn situation. But, well, best of luck to you, I guess. I can't imagine what it must be like, and you said you're a father, right?
Yes.
Well, I don't know much about being a father myself. I'm only 19, but I can imagine that your son is very proud to have you as a father, and, well, who knows? I think he's very proud of you. And I think that Sylvia was a very good woman as far as being a mother to him, and I imagine he misses her very much.
How did you know her name?
So, would you look at that? It's time to close for the night. I must be going now, and so must you. What did I even say? I'm thinking up things again. But my apologies, sir. I best be closing up the shop. In the meantime, if there's nothing you're going to buy, I must insist that you leave. It is time to close. Uh, and that card reading, don't mind that one bit. It's probably nothing significant.
Well,
Yes.
still, thank you for your time. And I give her, a nice bow.
Of
And
course.
maybe I'll see you around. Hopefully, maybe I'll be able to be a better patron for you in the future.
Maybe so. I do hope so. But well, that's all I got. So bye-bye.
Have a good one. And I step out of her shop.
Right. All right. So by now it is officially sunset. And it's gone mostly dark in the town. A few of the street lights are on and everything. The only place now that's open is the tavern, of course. So what you feel like doing?
Well, I'm gonna go into the tavern and see if maybe I can offer the barman a copper for at least a glass of water, so that been a long day, lot of walking,
Right.
thirsty.
Fair enough. So yeah, you go right in, and there is some Irish pub music playing, and that kind of thing. And you go in, and the smell of cigars and alcohol wafts up, and it's a very warm lit area with several round tables leading up to a long bar. And the barkeep goes in there and just kind of looks you up and down, goes back to cleaning his counter as you approach. You in here to take up space or to buy something?
Honestly, I would just like a cup of water. Can I offer you a copper for some water to drink? I have a long walk ahead of me.
I reckon so. Give me a moment. And he goes ahead and he fixes you up a cup, puts it on the table, and shifts it towards you, and definitely gives you a taut eyebrowed look.
I put my copper on the table and I sit for a moment and sip the water. Not trying to drink it down too quickly because it won't last very long that way.
Right. You're sipping the water, and you're not sure if it's just because of how dry your mouth is or whatever, but it tastes very icky. It tastes icky water. It's icky water. You can't for the life of you remember if this is just typically how the water here tastes. It's not stream water though, that's for sure. But you slowly get it down, and throughout the whole tavern, you look around and see various eyes once in a while glance up at you and then glance back to their conversations and their tables as people are gambling and playing games and laughing loud, hearty laughs. Yeah, the first person to come in here and ask for water.
If I had more, I'd probably ask you for a beer, but unfortunately, times are hard.
You can say that again. Barely keep the lights on here as I can. But unless there's always people coming through with money, what I wouldn't give to just have this place paid off so I could retire at last. Looks like you've tried giving away everything you got already, based on that haircut.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get that evened out before the day is done.
I reckon so. That'd be a strange way to walk around on the day-to-day, but who am I to judge? I'm just a barkeep. Well, you gonna order anything else, or can I take a cup from you?
I go ahead and down the last of the water and I give it to him.
Thank you. Well, so
Thank you.
I reckon it's going to be a cold one tonight, so certainly do your best to stay warm.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
It is. It is. I just thought of something totally off subject. I thought of something. It's on the subject of D&D, but nothing I need to address right now. Sorry.
Okay.
I just like zone out from. I'm like, oh, interesting. Anyway, but yeah. So was there any out of the I don't know maybe 15, 20 different tables that are in there? A few of them, like I said, are playing like card games, and some are like playing gambling games and things like that. Did you care to interact with any of them, or are you just stopping in for a drink before you head home?
Well, stopping in for a drink before I go back to the fish market.
Right. Okay.
I've pretty much tried to keep to myself overall because I know most people don't even want me near them.
Right.
They'd
Right.
prefer I stay out of town entirely if they, if I could help it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just try to do the equivalent of stay in my lane.
Understandable. Okay, so you're going to the fish market then.
Going to the fish market.
All right. So you get back there, and sure enough, the gentleman is waiting for you. He's kind of looking a little antsy. He's looking around. Huh. So you here? You weren't kidding, man. You must be desperate.
Unfortunately, if you could take off the rest from where it started here, it would be appreciated.
I suppose I'll do my best. Lean over. And he motions for you to lean over and everything.
Yep.
So, I assume you comply and everything.
Yeah.
All right. And after what seems like an eternity, but it's maybe a few seconds of very harsh sawing. This one vibrates your entire head as the serrations are much bigger than the little bandsaw at the cobblers.
Grab a hold of the table I'm laying across and just grip as hard as I can.
Yep. But in a matter of moments, finally you hear the last of horn break off, and he puts it on the table next to you, and it thuds down. That was bloody disgusting. I never want to do that again.
Me neither.
Right. Well, I have a feeling you won't be able to. Alas, well, congratulations. You are now a short-horned tiefling. So, you said you were doing this to pay off a debt or to something like that, to pay someone?
I'm doing it in trade for some coin so that I can provide for my son for the winter.
Well, best of luck to you. I really do mean that. And, well, you're locals here, correct?
I'm sorry.
Locals.
Yes, we live just up toward the mountain there.
Understood. Yeah, if there's nothing else, I can give you some of these. It's a little bag of fish guts. Not much for eating, but if you have lakes up there like here, maybe you do some fishing in the future.
Oh, my son would greatly enjoy having some better bait.
Of course, come to think of it, I can't think of any time I heard of someone actually catching a real fish up there. Mostly eels is what I come to gather.
Mostly.
Right. Well, here's this for you, and I certainly don't need them. But
thanks.
Of course.
I gave you my word that I would clean your saw.
Yes, you did. But don't worry about it. It's all right. I'll take care of it, and it's getting late. You have quite a track home, do you not?
Certainly. And then I pull out my silver piece and I put it down for him.
Yeah.
Thanks for your help.
Of course. Hopefully you'll have more of these next time you come back.
That is the great hope. Thank you.
Of course. And so he sends you on your way, and now you walk through the town center, empty streets, a few stragglers here and there, but people return to their houses, their boats, their inns and such, and it's a pretty quiet night. Is there anything else you wanted to try to do in the town before continuing, or are you ready to return home?
Think I'm ready to start the trek home.
All right. Alrighty. So we fast forward as you are nearing the the uphill slope towards your hut. The sunset is completely gone now, and it is dark, and the wind has picked up significantly. And you see ahead of you the dark shape of your hutch in the distance, but it's very dark. In fact, now that you're looking at it, you notice there's no smoke coming from the chimney, and a small burst of panic starts to set into you as the cold really starts to hit you. The wind is blowing, and if there's no fire in there, you question, is he in there? And if he is he okay? You begin to break into a sprint towards the hut. At this time, please make a dexterity saving throw.
$17.
17. As you are walking, or excuse me, you're sprinting now, you stop yourself just before you trip. You actually feel across like your shin. It's like a rope or a wire of some kind, and that's when it occurs to you, someone else is here. You're not alone. That's when you hear a voice go, "You got a cozy little place up there, Devil Blood. It's a wonder you don't invite any of your horny friends to join you there." And then the other one pops up. He goes,
I wonder if this guy even has any friends. By the looks of it, he can't even keep his little baby warm up there.
Yeah. Well, I'm impressed. You really shaved him off, didn't you?
Yeah, we had a deal.
Why, we did. I'm still willing to pay. But I must say, you didn't tell me. There were more of you up here. Like my missus back home always said, two pairs are better than one.
and he reaches back in his bag and pulls out two small tiefling horns in his hand. Roll initiative. Let's do a little thing here. Did you get an awful initiative? Is it like a 1?
It is a 1!
Dun dun dun.
Shit.
Off to a great start.
Yeah.
And embarrassingly enough, before we get into this, and we're almost done. We're getting towards the the end of it and everything. Before you, I have to pee one more time, so I'm gonna do that real quick,
Okay.
and we'll come back and we'll get going because I also need to grab a notepad. So, wow. Okay. This is what I get for having a guillotine behind me. There we go. Okay, I can swing it a little bit now. Okay, I need this, and I need... What was the other thing? Oh, yeah. A notepad. Which I have one somewhere. Let me grab that. I almost forgot. Such a bad DM. Okay. Oof. Okay, so in rolling initiative, you got a 1. So yeah. I'm gonna do that, and we're gonna do Flint. All right, and did we ever? Because I know we said we're going back to like a level 1 thing. So do you know what your starting HP ballpark is? Or do we want to like kind of improvise that? Like,
I think we'll just improvise it because like I know that early HP is pretty low. I don't. Unless you want me to throw together a character sheet, I couldn't tell you right now.
That's fine. We can. I don't know. What's like a standard starting HP? Maybe.
That also depends on class. So.
That's true.
Class and stats, which we don't have right now.
Yeah. Let me see. Let's see. I don't know where Google's getting this information from. Unless I just am wrong entirely. This is literally saying starting hit points on average for Dungeons and Dragons character is 2 hit points at level 1. Does that sound accurate?
That sounds accurate for like a wizard.
That's fair.
Wizards are pretty flimsy.
Okay. I was thinking more like 8 or 10.
We can do that just for.
Yeah, just for.
Well, just like I said, we're not building this as a hard character.
Right.
This is preemie, and we don't necessarily have to. This is more for role play than it is for true character building right now. So
exactly. So yeah, we'll just say for starting, you're at like 8 or 10. Like
okay.
Which that being said, like I did want him to be on the weaker side because he's not a hero right now.
No, he's pretty average.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. He is a villager of sorts, or just like a commoner basically.
Yeah, nothing extravagant. I mean, he knows his way around his sword, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that, good night. With that, the first orc runs up to you, and for a little setting, I mean, you're basically in a just wide open space leading up to, like I said, like your hutch, and the wind is blowing, and there is snow flurries that are whipping sideways past everyone. Other than that, it's dark and dark open space. The first gentleman, the first half orc guy comes up with his sword and swings at you with a 9, which we didn't give him a starting. We didn't give you an AC either, did we? We can do. Well, how about we give you a. Let's give you like an 11, 10 or 11. Okay. Is that, reasonable?
Yeah, that works. Okay. So we'll go with, I draw my sword and I parry his blow.
That works. So you parry his blow and he just and he's just kind of toying with you a little bit. Meanwhile, the other two kind of mimic the same action of coming in and taking a little fun swing at you. The first one also missing. You parry it as well down to the ground. And the next one missing dramatically, just swinging at you. And they all just kind of laugh at each other. Just,
Oh, this is fun. Oh, come on, little one. Let's see what you got.
and it is your turn. So directly in front of you, they're lined up one next to the other, 3 half-orc naval men.
Okay. I take a swing at the first one that struck at me, and I say, "Where is he?" And I roll an 8.
An 8. Your sword clashes with his, and he just holds it there for a moment. He goes,
Oh, don't you worry. He's exactly where he needs to be, safe and sound at home. I ain't killed him if that's what you think. Of course, you could always get past us to go check if you wanted.
he pushes your sword off of his and returns the blow to you with a natural 20, knocking your sword away and dealing you 5 damage as his sword comes down across your body, kind of knocking you back, as well as slicing into you pretty good.
Oh, you gotta do better than that. Go on, walk up to your boy. He's waiting for his daddy.
And the other two, oh yeah, that one. We're just gonna say the second one laughed at that point because he missed entirely. In response to that, the third one landed a hit as well, dealing you 1 damage. And just kind of giving you a little knock on your shoulder there.
What you gonna do? Come on. Don't you want to fight for your boy?
It is your turn also.
I reach into my bag quickly, and I grab my horns and hold them as a pair of spikes.
That's badass. I like that.
And then I
Very
leap at the guy that struck me.
Okay, cool. Do you want to treat that as like a dual wielding thing? Like
Yeah, we can treat that as, 2 weapons.
Yeah, I'm good with that. So yeah, you said you jump back at the first one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and roll for it.
Eight. Lovely. I'm not rolling well.
Right. So you run up, and with all the wind blowing in your face and everything, you do give a big swing at him, which it just scrapes across his armor and makes a horrid screeching noise. Does not land any damage, however, of course. So there is that. He goes,
Oh, boys, this one's got some fight in him.
Oh, boss, let me have a piece of him.
he rolls up, and the other one comes up to you and lands. What did we say your AC was? 11. Hits with a 12, dealing. And what's your current health at?
Depends. Was it 8 or 10?
We're gonna say it's 10.
Okay, so I'm at 4.
4. Okay. All right. Well, now you are at 1, sir. He slices you once again, and you feel inclined to. You're getting weak at the knees and everything. And they all just kind of circle around you, just.
Oh, the missus is gonna love 2 sets of horns. From the same family, nonetheless.
I'll kill you. I swear. I will kill you.
No. He's making threats. Ain't that something?
And while you're saying this, the wind is just pounding away at you, and you feel your limbs starting to grow cold and weak. And it's while they're laughing that you hear, even through the wind, you hear a faint noise kind of in the distance off to the side, and it's getting closer slowly. You just hear, alms, alms, spare a coin, a crumb for a poor blind man. And
Get out of here!
Oh, 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 I'm sorry. Did I walk in on something?
And the blind man emerges from the fog and the wind that surrounds everyone. And the orcs actually turn to him and go,
Oh, look here, boys. The purple one's saved.
and
Run!
The blind man hears you, and his wide smile, just black teeth, he smiles widely and kind of just disregards what you're saying. He kind of hobbles close. He does. He disregards it. He kind of hobbles closer, and his hands are reaching out. His little shaky old man hands are reaching out. He walks right up to the big one, the big half orc, and puts his hands on his chest. And
he goes, oh man, you're a big lad, aren't you? Must be all those pigs you've eaten downtown. The orc goes, yeah, Wait, now how'd you know I've been eating?
And that's when the blind man's eyes flash a piercing white and look straight into the orc's, which then the orc begins to scream in horror as the beam of light intensifies and the skin around the orc's face begins to bubble and blister. The others, as well as you, look on in horror for a matter of seconds as bubbling flesh begins to crackle and crumble away, exposing muscle and then bone beneath the orc's face. The screams continue, even now as the orc's eyes have begun to run down his face like broken egg yolks and onto the ground, sizzling. The two orcs look at this and they turn and
get out of here!
And they start running out. The first orc drops to the ground faceless, and the blind man standing tall reaches out his hand to each of them, to which you look over, and the first one simply, his back seems to just snap, instantly quiet, while his legs still stand there, like something, as he was running, just severed him from the inside. The second one, you're looking, and as he's running, you see his body, the shape of his body, start getting lower and lower, as it's like the earth itself has begun to open up and start swallowing him, and it closes around him as he screams, and his arm reaches up, and you get, and it's silent once again. The only sound heard now is the wind, the small crackling of burning flesh that remains on the cold stone. And as you turn to see the blind man again, where this ordinary old man was, there is now a strange being. It is nearly 7 heads tall. A glowing being of white stands there. His body is clad in a robe of molten gold, and his hair is shining like water above his head, with 2 powerful wings behind his back. And he turns, and he faces you, and he smiles, now with a ordinary, bright, clean smile.
You're hurt, I see.
What did you do?
I repaid a kindness. I know that you had very little, and yet you gave freely. Now I've come to return the favor.
Thank you. My son. I gotta get to my son.
Your son is dying,
No.
and so are you. The suffering of your family is great. But, Tiefling, I can help.
How?
I can heal your child. I can bathe him in riches, hide his eyes from all poverty and sorrow. He and his father can be happy and safe until their lives end in old age, their bellies full, and their lives full of joyous times. All it requires is a shake of your hand.
Can't be that simple. I don't. The only thing I have of value. I just hold out my horns.
Take of my hand, and you will have more than mere horns upon your head. You'll be everything your boy could ever need you to be. You do not trust my words.
I don't understand.
And he kind of like draws back a little bit and kind of flinches, sort of. And it's like something is pulling him from behind for a brief second.
My time grows short, Tiefling. My presence here is coming to an end, and I must soon be gone. Is this not all you desired for you and your kin?
Yes.
Please, take my hand, and I shall save you both.
I drop the horn, and I put my hand in his.
As you grip hands with him, the initial sensation is like the burning of red hot iron, but then is quickly soothed and becomes a euphoric but overwhelming experience through your entire body. And as the whiteness is filling his eyes looking at you, he smiles once more, a peaceful, kind smile. And you feel the light from his eyes envelop you until all your surroundings are also white. And whiteness envelops you both, and things go silent. Now, you probably are wondering what happens next, are you not?
Quite.
Well, we'll know the next time we play.
Of course. Knew that was coming.
Right. I'm a sucker for a cliffhanger. But yeah, so there you go. And now that we have that very basic construction built up, we can go some more places with it and kind of continue on. But be honest, what did you think about it? Like I said, this is it's an odd format. It's an odd format. I took an odd approach to it as well.
No, it's fine.
Definitely role play heavy.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
that was fine. I mean, I was totally okay with that. I had back in my head, I was like, I know these orcs are going to be trouble somewhere along the line. I thought maybe they'd follow me home or something. I had a feeling.
Right.
And then as far as the general tale, I mean, just so far the tale of a good man just trying to do what he can.
Right. Right.
And he you know, willing to give everything. The magic lady sounded interesting. She intrigues me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am currently wondering if she happens to also be a lady that is involved with the rest of the party currently.
You never really know. You never know in this world. But I will say though, the part of that I improvised it, but I was just like, this is kind of fun. When she was getting your name wrong and over and over, I was just like,
Yeah. Oh no,
that'd
I
be a cute
noticed
little
and it was
thing.
fun for me. I was
Right.
like, oh, that's cool. She's like predicting his future and she doesn't even either she doesn't realize it
Right.
or she knows exactly what the fuck she's doing. One of the two.
It's just obscure enough, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the next time that we get into a backstory session with him, there will be a bit more on the actual like play side. But now we've kind of set up the beginning of the story a little bit. So was this kind of what you were thinking I was going to do a little bit, or did you have any kind of expectation going into it?
I mean, like, I had a feeling it would start with very simple, humble beginnings, whether it was me by myself or me with a small family. And I'm not surprised about the family thing. It gave me stakes to fight for rather than just, because why would he take a deal for nothing?
Right. Well, and like Tarnis doesn't have many like concerns as far as stakes go, like for himself. So I definitely wanted to add some contrast between like who he was and who he became and that kind of thing. But yeah. So the next, like when we have our in-person session and everything, I know that, like I told you before, there's going to be a particular point in it where I will make it like I'll give you the signal basically of like that, right? Like that experience we just had, Tarnis remembers that.
Okay.
So that is where I'm going to leave it. But that's why it's also kind of at a weird like cliffhanger part, because he's not going to remember much else. Like that's going to be it. And so you have a little bit of something to work with in terms of a backstory for him now, but it's like a way backstory.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, like, I know that we're far enough back that this is potentially hundreds, if not thousands of years before the main story takes place.
Yeah, exactly. It's
I mean, like,
there's plenty of cushioning there.
Yeah, because honestly, Tarnis has been in action for a very long time. So it's probably more in the thousands of years. So, like, I mean, he he had enough time to work into a distinguished place in hell, and then has enough to travel the world and do things, and then somewhere he either pissed someone off or he failed a task. I more want to lean into the idea he probably pissed someone off because he was getting too strong. And then the guy probably made up an excuse to punish him.
Right.
As shitty bosses do.
Shitty bosses do that. Yep, that's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, so hopefully I had a good time. I hope you had a good time and everything.
I had a blast. I honestly wish we could continue. It's
right. Well, we definitely will, because I as well want to learn more about Tarnis and his past and everything, because the more I can learn, the more I can bring it all into future campaigns or current campaign or just whatever. And at the very, very least, it's world building. And so there's nothing not to benefit from for me as the DM from it. But I also love to get to know the character and how it affects you and how you feel about it all and stuff. So I'm looking forward to the next one already, because I already got plenty of ideas, and I'm, like I said, I'm glad we got this kind of foundation down to build on, because now it's just like, okay, cool. Now I know how to make this work, and I have some ideas. And I had that awkward pause earlier where I was brainstorming out of nowhere, and I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, but
no, that was great. I had a blast. I enjoyed the role play. I'm very fond of role play, so like it was great.
right.
Guess I could, if you so deem, I could build a character sheet for essentially pre-tarnis
Right.
if you need me to. I
Right.
imagine it's a warlock sheet at this point, but you can tell me level 1, level 2, or whatever, and we'll figure out where to go from there.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. And but hopefully I was able to scratch the D&D itch a little bit.
Oh, it helped.
Good.
I'm always clamoring for more.
Yeah. Me too, man. I'm so ready for November, man. I'm so ready for November. I'm ready, and then I'm also like, I need to prep, but so
yeah, I do want to get Ben's character printed
Mhm.
before then, just so that we each have a character to work with.
Right. And I think he's the kind of guy. I think he'll be happy with, like, oh, that's him. Like, that's him. Cool. Like, I don't think he's gonna be too picky about it or anything.
Yeah, something between what you sent me and the image that's sitting behind you is what I'll try to base it on.
Cool.
And I'll get something made.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you just
Wait, where's my hand? Oh, nope, there we go. No, the good doggy. They're a good doggy. Oh, goodness. But
yeah, I mean, other than that doggy, who's that doggy?
So that dog, that's my dog Belle. She did.
Okay.
So once in a while, my dad will play with us, and he has a pop-in character. Like, he actually has a poppin' character.
Yeah, he was,
and
he's got the kind of role that, like, Tarnis was supposed to have.
Sorta, yeah. At least the frequency of it, yeah. And he plays like an explorer character, and he ended up losing his memory of, like, just
that.
Yeah. And so by the end of that session, he was able to find basically this thing, which I will reintroduce to the game kind of more when it's relevant. But basically, there are these things that hold living memories in them that can be kind of activated or released or whatever. Anyways, the one in his that he found or had was a dog, and it helped him to find his way home and everything. And I modeled it after my own dog Belle, who's a border collie. And it was funny because we're playing and everything, and I started describing. I was like, yeah, it's a border collie. It's black and white, and I described its mannerisms, which were very specific to our border collie. She was very, very, like.
I imagine your dad picked up on it.
He did. I didn't even say the name. He goes, "Is this Belle?" I said, "Yes, it is." He goes, "My dog." And I was like, yeah. So that was cool. So it's like, okay, yeah, there's a little bit of real life kind of bleeding in. It's meta, but we like it. So, but anyway, well, I will, I'll call it for the night and everything, but hopefully I will be able to get a second backstory playthrough for everyone again soon, and we'll be able to get more into Tarnis's backstory, which his is the more intense out of all of them, I will say. But I think my favorite thing is just seeing how each of you play them, because that is definitely the benefit of all of it, is just me being able to like actually be like, yes, this is how you play a game. This is how you prefer to live in your role when you don't have to worry about affecting other people or even a world around you. You know, if it's isolated, it's like that's your world right now. You do what you would do without worrying about other players. So it's cool. But
Yeah. And honestly, I look forward to the next part of even just this story.
Right.
You know, it's already got me intrigued. I want to learn more about Tarnis's pre-life too. It's
yeah. I'm excited. It's gonna be good. I mean, we already know where he ends up, and now it's just like, but how? But how? But how?
Right.
So it's gonna be cool. I'm excited. But I will go ahead and let you go to have a good rest of your night with the fam. And before too long, I'm probably gonna go over to Christina's and
Okay.
just sleep because she's probably asleep by now. But yeah, you have a wonderful rest of your night and a
You
wonderful
too.
day tomorrow. Thank you much, sir.